right, today we're going to dig into the numbers behind one of the most incredible growth stories in America, the Greater Phoenix region. Using some brand new data from the Maricopa Association of Governments, we're going to break down exactly what is fueling this desert boom. Let's dive in. I mean, just take a look at this. This isn't just a few cities anymore. It's a massive, sprawling metropolis that's become this powerful magnet for people, for money, and for big ideas. For decades, this place has been all about growth. But what's happening now? Well, it's accelerating in some pretty dramatic new ways. So, to give you a sense of the sheer scale we're talking about, let's start with the population. As of 2023, the region is home to over 5.1 million people. That's a huge urban center, bigger than a lot of entire states. And the speed of this growth, it's honestly staggering. Since just 2010, the population has shot up by 21%. Think about that for a second. In just over a decade, they added almost 1 million new people. This isn't slow and steady. This is an absolute explosion. And all that growth? Well, it puts the region on the map in a big way. Since 2020, the Greater Phoenix area has ranked number 3 in the entire country for metropolitan growth. When Americans are on the move, this is one of the top places they are heading. So that leads to the really big question, right? Who are all these people driving this massive transformation? What does the new face of this booming region actually look like? Let's get into the demographics. You know, the main engine of this growth isn't local. It's people moving in. They're flocking here from all over the US. But one state in particular is playing a huge role. Get this, nearly a quarter of all the people moving in from other states are coming from California. That's a trend that's reshaping both places. And this huge influx of people is creating an incredibly diverse population. As of 2023, the minority population hit 48%. That means the region is on the cusp of becoming a majority-minority area. This kind of cultural and ethnic blend is really what defines modern Phoenix. And hey, if you think the region is diverse now, you've got to look at the next generation. This quote from the report is so important. With minority youth making up nearly 2/3 of everyone under 18, the future of this region is going to be even more dynamic and multicultural. It's already baked in. At the exact same time, you've got these two powerful trends that are completely reshaping the age profile. First, we're seeing fewer births, so the youngest population group is actually shrinking. But then you look at the other end of the spectrum, and you see a massive 67% jump in residents over 65. This graying of the region has huge implications for everything from healthcare to housing. Okay, so you have all these new people pouring in, and of course, they all need a place to live. This is putting an incredible amount of pressure on the housing market. So where does a rapidly growing population find a home? This is the question on everybody's mind, isn't it? The dream of owning a home has always been a huge part of the Phoenix appeal, but as prices keep soaring, that dream is really being put to the test. The numbers here, they paint a pretty stark picture. There's this massive and growing gap between the income you need to buy a median-priced home, which is over $125,000, and what the actual median household earns, which is closer to $86,000. This affordability crisis is really the central tension in this whole growth story. So how is the market reacting? Well, it's responding in a historic way. For the first time ever, developers actually built more apartments and other multifamily units than they did traditional single-family houses. This is a fundamental shift, and it reflects both that affordability challenge and changing lifestyles. But here's the crucial point. This big shift toward renting, it isn't solving the affordability problem. Over half of all renters are now considered cost-burdened, which means they're spending more than 30% of their income on housing. That's more than double the rate for homeowners, and it's fueling a record number of eviction filings. All right, a boom like this doesn't just happen on its own. There's got to be a powerful economic engine behind it. So let's take a look at the jobs, the industries, and the income trends that are pouring fuel on this fire. The job market here is, to put it simply, on fire. The region now has 2.5 million jobs. That's an incredible 47% increase since 2010. The economic opportunity is a massive part of what's pulling people in. But the economic picture has some really important nuances. See, on the surface, household incomes look fantastic. But when you dig just a little bit deeper, you find that individual paychecks, well, they aren't necessarily keeping up. And the data here is really revealing.
Since 2017, after you adjust for inflation, household income is up over 12%. But individual worker earnings, they're up only about half that. So what's with the gap? It's because more households have multiple people working. So families are getting ahead, but it's often because more people are in the workforce, not because individual wages are soaring. And the backbone of that job market is actually pretty diverse. Over half of all jobs fall into just 5 key sectors. You've got healthcare, retail, food and hotels, education, and a surprisingly strong manufacturing base, which is absolutely critical for the region's economic stability.
So you've got all this growth, people, housing, jobs, but none of it works in a vacuum. It requires a massive, coordinated effort to build the infrastructure that can hold it all together. So how is the region actually planning for its future? It really boils down to a simple idea. You can't have a thriving economy if people and products can't move around efficiently. Transportation isn't just about getting from point A to point B. It's literally the circulatory system for the entire regional economy.
And the connection is just undeniable. A whopping 80% of all jobs in the region are clustered right near the freeways and major transit routes. Economic growth literally follows these arteries, which makes investing in them strategically absolutely essential.
And here's the payoff for all that planning. The region is expected to add another 2 million people by 2050. That's a mind-boggling number. And yet, because of all this ongoing infrastructure investment, the average commute is projected to stay under 30 minutes. That is a huge win for quality of life. Which brings us to our final question. The Phoenix region has clearly mastered the art of growth, but as it barrels toward a future with 7 million people facing huge challenges from water security to housing affordability, the real test is going to be sustainability. Can the same planning that built this boom also prevent it from busting? Well, that next chapter is still being written.